We can hear fine. All right, 3, 2, 1.
Boom, and welcome to the Big Honker Podcast, brought to you by Hunt Proof. I'm Jeff Stanfield with the world famous Andy Shaver. We're getting all this shit ready, and then who'd had their mic behind their computer? Me. I hate these new mics.
It would have been the same regardless.
No, I just don't like this as much. It's just harder. The arm's different. It's just fucked up. You like my new shin gear vest?
Yeah, it looks nice.
This bitch is sweet. Do you like the olive one or the black one?
They both look sharp.
The black one's more thinning for a fat guy like me.
It
That's
is.
why I wear one. Little
It
skinny
is.
guy like you, Cameron, across from us from Oklahoma. Camron Miller is with us, our guest today. He's from, are you from Reno?
Yes.
Reno, Oklahoma. That's where my dad was born.
Really?
Yep, the great Ron Stanfield. Did you see the sign outside of town?
Nope.
Birthplace
hadn't
of Ron
erected it yet.
Stanfield. That's the same in Lexington, Missouri, where I'm at. I won't go back there until they put a sign that says birthplace of Jeff Stanfield.
I bet the hospital that he was born at, they just tore it down.
Could be. I can't ask him. I was going to ask him a question today. Blake called me about some pheasant questions today. I said, I'll ask
What was
Dad.
that question? Because Blake texted me yesterday, said, hey, can I ask you a question? I said, of course. And he said, it's a pheasant question. I said, okay. And that was it.
Okay. The question was, him and Alex are doing a family pheasant hunt this weekend.
Okay.
The drought is so bad that they're buying some pheasants from a friend of theirs to put out for their family hunt.
Okay.
I hope Blake's family knew that these are release birds you're shooting now. But anyways, he asked me questions about releasing them, how they got them to come back. I told him, I said, I don't know much about it. I'll ask Dad when I get the lodge, except I can't do that. And I was going to have you call Dad. But if you're going to call my dad, you might as well call your dad because they're in the same place. But anyways, I think there's callback pens. I said, I knew Dad used to put some traps down by the pheasant pen, and the pheasants would come back at night. And sometimes we'd trap some pheasants that got out.
So he's wanting to like shoot them
Recycle
Saturday and then shoot them. So he's only wanting to do this once.
Yeah, he's wanting to recycle them so when they come back, then they can shoot them again, I guess. But
Right.
anyways, we talked about pheasants. That
I
was
think
just a
that
pheasant
takes
question.
more than a couple days. Like I think you got to get them accustomed to going to a location and then maybe.
Yeah. Well, I
they'll
asked him,
come
I go,
back.
well, you going to try to sell some hunts with these? He said, no. I said, well, why don't you just shooting wild birds? He said, we don't have very many wild birds.
Right.
It's really bad up in Nebraska. Lots of prayers for them people.
I feel bad because I didn't realize people were messaging Blake. I guess he lost his bow. I said that on the do's and don'ts, and now everybody's making fun of poor Blake. He got all these messages from people making fun of the kid.
Well, I've had a lot of people make fun of you in my messages.
You know, it's funny.
That is quite the topic we have touched on. It really is. The public hunting, the do's and don'ts.
You know, it's interesting. I read the comment thread.
Mm-hmm. There was people on your side on the comment thread,
A lot
though.
of people on my
yes,
side.
there was. There was on that, and it showed you people stick together. Just can't be wrong.
Assholes stick together.
Yeah, I didn't say that because some of them people are pretty nice. Shanahan is in the asshole category. That's why I like Trevor. He's himself all the time, and I'm an asshole in real life and on the deal, so we work out real well.
Right.
But people have really. One guy messaged me and he said, "I tell you what, I was so fucking pissed off at Andy." He said I was about ready to call him up, and he said, someone's got to play the shield sometimes, and it made kind of sense.
I'm the heel.
Yeah,
I'm the heel. He takes the low hanging fruit.
I don't know why people don't understand that. Like, I understand that you guys have to have both sides, but
Right.
people take shit way too seriously.
Way too literally.
Like,
Yeah.
And the reason people like Jeff is Jeff takes the low hanging fruit. He takes the side
the
of
easy topics.
He's any
No.
topic that we talk about. Jeff takes the layup side.
No.
He's like,
I take my side of it. That's the way I feel. I've yet to get on here and argue for a side I don't believe in.
but you always talk first, so there's no side for me to take.
All right, we're going to talk about this right now.
Okay.
Do you think it's wrong to date your friend's ex-wife? You go first.
Your friend's ex-wife.
Yes.
How close friends are we? Best
It
buds?
doesn't matter. Best buds.
I would advise against it.
Okay. All right. I think it's completely fine. No, I don't. I don't think that. I think you should. Do you think it's okay to date sisters? See, I think that's no big deal. Or best friends. If you date a girl and her best friend, Ashton, I want to ask you a question. Or you're not going to be on here. That's right. You don't want to talk because you're shy. Do you think, Ashton, since you're here,
You can nod yes or no.
yes, do you think it's okay for a guy to date your best friend if he dated you? That's a no. That's right. But that's between you and her. That ain't got nothing to do with him.
That ain't got
You're
nothing to
out
do
of it.
with
That's
us.
exactly right.
Yeah. That's their
Right.
problem,
And
not ours.
that was what that's what somebody's stance was with the friends hunting your spot. If you're pissed off that your friend hunted your spot, you needed a better friend.
That part I agree with 100%. And that's why I still can't stand that Ichabod Crane looking motherfucker from way back.
But that was a you problem.
That-
you shouldn't have trusted
No,
him.
I shouldn't have trusted my buddy who brung along this goofy son of a bitch. But you're right.
You're too many degrees of separation.
I was
here.
mad at myself as much as I was wanting to kill that fucker.
Right.
But you don't do that to friends. Same as if you're friends with someone and him and his wife get divorced and she's smoking hot and got a lot of money and then you still shouldn't date her probably.
So Antonio Brown, even though he was friends with Tom, should not date Giselle.
I'd stay away from that witch. And I mean witch in the literal sense because I think the witch burns bushes and throws chicken bones in a corner.
Well, Antonio Brown, I mean, he ain't much better. This son of a bitch is crazy.
Yes, he is. Could you imagine those two together? Like, what would you get there?
Or you'd get
He
some
does-
guy with the big schlong. it
He
looked
does have a hose on him. It was
Yeah.
blurred out, so I mean,
But it was a big blur job.
It was a
Yeah.
big blur job.
Mine's 2 little pixels on my
Yeah.
blur out deals. His is a whole page.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
you're
we don't have that problem. Joe.
No.
You're looking for the part. You're like, where did they blur it out? And it's like, is it in the water? Like,
I'm 100% white man below the waist.
So
so.
me and you both.
Yeah.
But I was happy to see, like, because when that thread got posted, it was all day. People calling me piece of shit and all this other stuff, which is always fun. It's always a fun part of the show whenever things like that happen.
Your mom took up for you again though.
So anyway, after being badgered all day long, I quit. I turned my phone off. I didn't even look at it.
I feel like that'd be the worst part is dealing with all the
It's
bullshit
just-
that
it's
people send you.
It's not. There's a whole lot worse shit in the world.
Because you take the easy side. You never have people talking
have
about how
people-
much they hate you.
I have people. No, nobody says they hate you.
Yes, I get that a lot.
That they hate you.
That they hate my guts. Yes, it is. It is.
Do they still listen every week?
I don't know, but it's bad.
That people hate your
Yeah,
guts.
they do. They do not like me at all.
Yeah, especially when he calls the tumbleweeds Texas size.
Texas side, yeah, just people fucking hate me.
It's funny though when we go to these events, people always want to get their picture made in your autograph. So there's some people out there that don't hate you.
No, everybody likes you, like I said, because you take the easy side of
No,
things.
it's because I'm just a lovable person.
You talk for, and that's another thing. So there's no scripting anything that we do here. Like
Right.
today, you're like, what are we going to talk about? And I'm like, I don't know. So like when we did the do's and don'ts, we kind of had an outline, but it's not choreographed in the way that Jeff's going to take this side, I'm going to be the anti. But in saying that, I also have to think about, well, like, this is going to be boring if him and I agree on everything. So let me try to think outside of the box and come up with an argument why it would be okay to hunt
But
your
you
buddy's
really
spot.
believe that though. That's not a choreographed deal. We agreed on a lot of stuff on the do's
I
and don'ts.
agreed that there were shades of gray. If you've hunted it one time with your buddy and you went back there the next day, that's probably a dickhead move. But if this is something that you and your buddy have gone to over the course of a season, it becomes your spot after a while. Like he can't just say for infinity, this is my spot because I took you here. What if we've gone here for 3 years?
What if-
like there are shades of gray.
Okay.
And that's the part that people have a hard time agreeing with is like, yes, I would agree one time and then you're back there the next day with your group of friends. That's not right. And I would have a problem with that. But if I take somebody there repeatedly and then they go back, it's kind of expected.
Okay. But there's a lot of things on the do's and don'ts we agree on. This was the only thing we didn't both agree on. Was it?
But I agreed to an extent.
No,
but not.
but
I'm not all the way into. Oh yeah, you found it. That's
No,
yours
but you
forever.
said that you always take the opposite side or always take the low hanging fruit. We agreed on
Sometimes
everything
I
else.
do.
Okay.
Sometimes I will take the opposite side just so that we can have a dialogue. But
Okay. Would you want to flip this script? I'll play skip this
no,
week.
no, no,
Okay.
it's
I'll find
fine.
something we'll
It's
talk
fine.
about.
No, we
Ashton-
have established our roles here. I'm the heel, you're the baby face, and that's fine. It's worked this long.
Baby face. Yeah, that's me.
I just quit reading. As soon as I saw a comment come in into my message request, I was like, I ain't reading that motherfucker. I know that is going to be hateful.
Yeah, that is not going to be something you want to read.
Now, Ashton, you're sitting at the table, so I'm going to ask you a question again. Do you listen to the podcast? Yeah. Okay. Who do you like more, me or Andy?
See?
There you go. See there, Andy? I think people like us equally.
She's sitting closer to me, so she feels obligated to say that.
No. Andy's the young, good-looking one on here. I'm the smart old guy. That's how we come off. Right? There you go.
And then people don't like my political views because I
Your
have
political views are not much different than mine, though.
but I have the ability to see where the other side might be coming from. And I think that's where a lot of the hatred comes from, is I'm able to put myself in other people's shoes and see why something would make sense to somebody else.
Is this getting so bad that you're hurting your feelings that we're going to have to find a new co-host now?
Well, here's the thing: is like, why is this not switching?
That's because you're doing it.
Yeah, exactly. More reason to hate me. I couldn't get it going. No, it's not. I've realized to just not look at it. Just post and go. So if I'm gonna post something, just don't even look at the comments. Don't look at my inbox. And
you know, it's funny though. I look on Instagram the other day.
So if people, if you have sent me a nice message and I've not gotten back to you, this is why.
I noticed the other day 3 famous people that are in the waterfowl industry. I'm gonna call them pseudo famous. I don't know if they're famous or not.
Turn on that air.
Their Instagram come up and I looked and I thought, every one of them followed Andy. Not one of them followed me. See there?
Yeah.
You know, so Andy's the more famous and the more likable guy. That's why they like him.
Well, what really blows my mind is the video that he posted with his kids and showing them how to clean birds, and he was getting shit for that.
There you go. That's just the way it is. That is being when you're kind of famous, people do that shit.
That
now
is
Andy's
fucking
not as
bullshit.
famous as like I am when we're on vacation and someone takes your picture in a multi-billion-dollar mansion because they wanted to be a picture with me. So see there, Andy? I can be famous too, but that's right. But Andy caught shit over doing something, being a good dad.
Yeah.
People don't like good dads.
Well, I mean, and you think about it, everybody out there now is like, well, kids don't want to fucking do anything. They just want to sit inside, play video games, not do shit. And then you got somebody like Andy that is taking his kids out to do that kind of shit, and then he gets repercussions from it.
Kids will do whatever they're taught. I mean, kids don't know shit. They're going to do whatever behavior is allowed and expected of them. And if you don't expect anything out of your kid, and if you don't expect them to be a contributing member of society, they're not going to be.
Right.
They have to be taught a lot. And I didn't realize, until I had kids, I didn't realize how fucking dumb they were.
Well, my mom's a kindergarten teacher, so I've got...
There you go, yeah.
But I mean, and like...
why nobody likes him. Your kid's a dumb fuck.
And
most kids are.
And
Seriously.
getting involved in like coaching kids sports and stuff, it's amazing. And like, why should they know? Why should they know the nuances of baseball? I coached kid baseball this last year. I wasn't a big baseball player, but I played catcher, so I knew how the game worked.
You're a good baseball player.
Well, and then like you try to explain things and you're like, why don't you know that?
Right, and you think it's common sense, and
Right.
you're like, okay, what the fuck is wrong with you?
Just like hunting, just like when we were talking about the do's and don'ts, and we were talking, you pick up your trash.
Yeah.
I couldn't believe that was that
Right.
common. Like when we were like, what do you want to see on a public land, blah, blah, blah. And everybody, there were a lot of comments that were like, oh, you guys tell people to pick up the trash.
So
how don't they know that?
We had an instance last year. 2 of us had permission on the same field. Okay, no problem. We communicated about it, whatever. And the guys went out there and they fucking destroyed this field.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it just rained. They drove like 4 pickups in there, all pulling trailers.
Yeah.
Rutted it up, and they left every piece of trash on that property.
Do they get to come back to it now?
No,
Now nobody
gets to-
can.
Yep.
Nobody hunts it. They ruined it for everybody.
Yep.
Right.
They're
So-
douchebags like it everywhere.
That's
That
why
wears you out.
that's why North Dakota is getting ruined, and that's why more farmers in North Dakota are posting no hunting. It's
Same
because
with
these
Canada.
assholes
Yeah.
come from the South. We did a good job of picking up after ourselves, but people come up there and, like you said, it'll have just rained, and they'll drive all over this thing and leave ruts in it, and then they post it the next year, no hunting, and they don't let anybody hunt.
Yeah, and it ruins it for everybody. It's
Everybody.
not just them. But then the problem is they go to the next guy.
Right.
They do the same shit.
Yep.
It's all about now.
Yeah.
The instant gratification right now.
Right.
And it's not just young people. There's some old fuckers up like that guy that hunted that land on mine that time.
Yeah.
There's some old fuckers out there they have no morals and they have no respect. I want to get back to Andy being a dad now before we talk about this. Andy's a really good dad. Very good dad. Him and Jesse are good parents.
And when I said
my kids go to church.
when I said your kid's a dumb fuck, like I was including mine too. Like he doesn't have.
Andy, you already said it. You can't take this back. This is the things that you say that people don't like you because
Okay.
of that. Okay. As someone, you said you didn't play. You wasn't much of a baseball. You were a good baseball player, but who played catch with you all the time?
You,
That's right.
right?
Because you had someone that taught you how to do stuff and do it that way, and you're doing it with your kids. You have to teach your kids to do stuff.
Right.
Reese likes to play video games, but Reese wants to do anything his dad includes him in.
Right.
Like y'all putting Legos together. I got Andy good. We bought Reese like a 15,000 piece Lego deal for Christmas or for his birthday the other day. That was me
Holy
laughing.
shit.
That was me laughing on the inside because I know
It's
how
I
gonna
don't
be
touch 'em.
all over the
I
fucking
don't touch
house.
them. They are, and we've already told him, like, listen, if we've given him a designated area. This is where you can do your Legos, and if they leave this area, you cannot gripe when you lose a Lego. If you take it from here to the living room or from your living room to your bedroom and you lose something in transit,
you're going to wake up in the middle of the night to go to the bathroom and step on one.
100%. 100%.
No, the little brother is one that's going to take a piece off, and it's going to piss the big brother off.
Yeah.
Well,
and the little brother's evil.
He did it already.
See?
Jameson didn't do it, but Reese brought it to the living room. He was gonna play Legos and get ready in the morning and watch TV. Lou was outside at the time. Lou comes back in, and Lou's tail just swipes it.
We have that problem too.
Throws it. Yeah, you know what I'm talking about. Every lab.
So we have 3.
Oh my goodness.
And one of them, my little black lab, she's a bitch. I mean, Ashton made a dozen cupcakes the other day. She went to go take a shower. She left them on the stove to cool down. And Maggie got on there and ate 8 out of the 12 fucking cupcakes that she had just made.
At least she shared.
Yeah,
She left you for. We bought crumble cookie. Have y'all had crumble cookie yet? Okay. If you go to Wichita Falls,
Are we going to give a plug to these people now? They don't give us shit.
If you go to Wichita Falls,
Here we go.
crumble cookie's the way to go, and they're all over.
Abilene, they're
in El Reno, so they're more likely to go Wichita Falls.
1 Minute Mike got. It's what we sent when 1 Minute Mike had his baby, Logan.
Oh yeah, they're delicious. Anyway, my wife loves them, and we bought some, left them on the counter, and he ate every single one of them before we could get to it.
No shit.
Oh,
When was
fuck.
this?
It was a month or so ago.
Yeah, Andy. This is how it works in the Stanfield clan. Shell goes to town and buys something. Includes everybody. Andy and Jesse, they buy stuff for her parents. They don't ever think about me on Cookie.
Buy stuff for her.
That's
parents.
what all the time. It's just terrible.
We're
Breaks my heart.
we're looking out for you, Jeff.
Yeah, I appreciate it. One cookie half a cookie will fill you up.
Yes.
Them suckers are huge.
So
and they're
how
good.
he ate 4 of them, I don't know.
I don't know because Maggie's done the same thing. Ashton laid steaks out one night for dinner,
Right.
2 16-ounce ribeyes, and I get home to put them on the grill from work, and Ashton goes in there and she's like, "Yeah, they're on the counter." Like, okay. And I go back in there. I was like, "Hey,
They're not on the counter.
they're not there." Maggie's over there fucking licking her chops, laying on the couch.
Beavis did that up here at the lodge 25 years ago. One time, I'll never forget that. We've been deer hunting. Come up here, was gonna put steaks on the grill. Fire was perfect. Lit the fire before we left. Went another hunted. Came back up. Hell yeah, go in there. He just sitting there looking at his hotel wagon. I'm looking, where the fucking steaks go?
Mm-hmm.
That part is Maggie's a really good dog, and so she just turned 4, and she's mellowed out. She used to be an asshole all the time.
Mm-hmm.
She's not anymore. She's finally mellowed out, but just like the other day, like we haven't had to worry about that for a while now. And then she just gets on the counter and gets a fucking cupcake.
My dad used to say all the time, "You can't expect them not to."
Right.
I mean that's
their nature.
That's their nature. I mean, it's
Right.
hard to, and then you can't go beat a dog 15 minutes later for doing something they'd done before because they
Oh,
don't
I
fucking
can.
know.
Exactly.
Did you beat on him?
Fuck yeah, he knew what he did.
How do you
I
know?
can tell when he's done something because of the way he greets me. If
Right.
he has not done something, he's in his bed sleeping. When he's like drug panties out or the trash out or eating something he's not supposed to, he meets me at the door.
So when he met you at the door, you were like, "Oh shit."
Yeah, what did he do? Because we have middle doors in our house, and he hears us drive up, and he meets us. He's sitting at the middle doors, and then he runs by us like he needs to go outside.
Yeah,
So
he wants
he's like,
outside. So you
I'll
don't
get
beat shit out of
outside,
him.
and then when they see what's going on, I'll be far away from this.
Exactly.
So when that happens, my guard's up. If he's in his bed, he hasn't done anything.
So how quick did you notice the cookies were going?
Took a minute, but I found it. I started looking. He doesn't do that any other time.
I bet your kids were disappointed.
My wife was more disappointed because she doesn't. She does not have a big sweet tooth, but when like something of this magnitude is in the house, she's like, "Oh fuck yeah, I gotta get some of that." So it's Harry's phone.
Oh,
Yeah, she was pissed. She wanted to beat the guy,
And
I
that's
was like,
worse
I
than the
already handled
kids
it.
because, you know.
Yeah.
she don't like the dog.
I
Anyways.
gotta live with her.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
she's caused Andy a lot of problems in his life. I'm telling you.
She almost. We were doing a podcast with Jeff Coates, and is he not going to answer that?
He's
Is he
not in there.
asleep?
He's in another room.
Oh.
Or he's gone, I think.
Why would he leave his phone?
I guess it's charging. I don't know. That's a woman question. I don't have an answer for that.
She was pregnant with Jameson. We were doing a podcast with Jeff Coates, and I got a text from my mother-in-law during the podcast.
Oh, I
which is
remember this.
Unusual. She said, Jessie probably broke her foot. We're at the hospital. And I'm like, oh, no. So I'm like, what did she do? She kicked Lou. He had done something. She's pregnant. She's 8 months pregnant at the time. Kicks him and then hurts her ankle. Ankle still
Oh,
bothers her when
no.
it gets cold.
Oh, no.
So we had to cut it short with Jeff. We did. We're like, Jeff, man, I'm sorry. My wife's pregnant and she's at the hospital. Like, we got to go. So that's the relationship her and my dog have.
That's awesome. So no more dogs.
Yes, he is.
We'll get there.
We'll
Get there.
We've got
Because the
two-
kids want another puppy.
I've already had guides lobbying for the dogs that are coming now.
Good.
We got Double T British, and Corey is sending us some couple of labs to use all winter here. We're going to use them for pheasant hunts and waterfowl hunts. Blake, will I be able to use that dog?
Right.
I said, yes, you will. Good.
My neighbor lady, she fell today.
They fly her out?
Broke her pelvis.
They flying her out right now?
I don't know. Not much you can do for it.
That's too bad. That's when you're old like that, things just don't. That's,
Wearing socks in the house.
Well, I don't understand why that's so bad.
At her age? Slick socks?
Slick socks.
I mean, if you're not on carpet, I guess I could see that. You know.
No, and she has all like laminate flooring.
Oh.
So, and she's got a million cats. She loves her cats. She'll never admit it. I bet a cat got underneath her.
So this is the same lady that has a cat door that the coons were coming in, right?
Every August.
Oh,
Raccoons come in the house.
Every August.
Fuck that.
Yep.
Very clean, not a clean lady. I mean, it's
Yeah.
just, but she has the coons come in.
Oh no.
Come through her back
yeah,
door.
no, that little cat door would have been gone.
Yeah. She's a sweetheart of a lady.
How old is she? 86?
She's in her upper 80s.
That back and pelvis. That's
Tough.
a bad deal because it's
That's gonna be hard to
Be
recover.
hard.
yes
Hard on anybody.
The nursing home is usually what comes next
Yeah.
after this.
It'd be hard on
Yeah.
any. Well, I don't know. Our other neighbor lady, she did it a couple years ago.
What happened to her?
She broke her pelvis.
What's she doing now?
Well, she had other problems.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm getting at. Is a broken pelvis at that age
Leads to other
leads.
stuff.
Oh yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
they're not
it's-
going to be able to
it's-
do anything.
No,
you
they
know.
just sit around and she's
Bedridden.
probably going to end up in a nursing home or staying with one of her kids.
I don't know.
And her kids are older too.
Right. Don't do that. I mean, you know.
That's
Bad
like
deal.
me and Tony were doing rock paper scissors. Who's going to keep her dad at the end?
Damn it,
Like
boy.
I had him the time before. I love him to death, but gosh dang it,
Yeah.
my dad was a pain in the ass. He had open heart surgery, and he'd come to live with us. And they sent him home to us like we're damn doctors. They give us all this list of medicines and all kinds of shit. Well, the first thing started was Dad's medicine got him disoriented on thinking. He couldn't hardly talk. Right. And he God dang it, and he could talk for a minute. But I had to check his blood. My dad had meat hands. I mean, my dad's fingers were huge, big
I
NFL
think that
lineman
whole
hands.
generation had
Had
big,
big
ass
hands.
hands.
Big ass
Right.
hands. And so they give you this little thing to check his blood sugar every day. Well, I'd hit him with that deal. Well, fuck, I couldn't get through the damn calluses on his
Right.
hands. He worked all his whole life. So I took the guard of it off so I could pop it and go clear to his bone, and blood squirting.
Yeah.
Let Michelle do that. And I'd give him some medicine. You're trying to kill me. Why are you giving me this medicine? Yeah, Dad, I wrote up these prescriptions in the front yard up here, man. Go. We went down and filled them up. It's with
got
the doctor.
paranoid.
It wore me out. But the worst part was he was supposed to come home and sleep. Oh, he'll sleep 20 hours a day. No, he slept 4 hours a day. I woke up the first night at 4 o'clock in the morning, and I felt like somebody was watching me, and I rolled over, and he was standing above our bed. I'm like, what are you doing, Dad? Well, goddamn, we're going to have any breakfast around this joint? Well, yeah, in about 3 hours when we wake up.
Holy shit.
And it was that kind of shit all the time. So every time Dad would get sick, with cancer and stuff, I told Tony, listen, we had him last time, it's your time. He's going to have to stay with you
Yeah.
this time.
Didn't he pee one time and you didn't know? Like, so like they have a computer chair kind of like these that we're
Right.
sitting in, and Ron was like this. And it's back to where Jeff was coming from, and then Jeff. And then Ron like swivels around.
We went to, the dog was raising hell one night. And our utility room is behind me and Michelle's bedroom. And I looked outside, like towards the pool from our utility room, and I couldn't figure out what the dog was raising on the backyard. And the dog was barking like towards the back. The man cave room sits on the back side of our house, and kind of barking like in the window, looking in there. And I told Michelle, she goes, "What is going on?" I was like, I said, I wonder if there's a freaking. It was in October. I said, I wonder if there's a rattlesnake or snake in the yard or something, because I said he never barks like him, barking towards the ground, or just raising hell. Like, shit. So I'm going to go out in the backyard. So I grab a flashlight and I grab my pistol. And I'm thinking there's going to be a snake in the backyard. And I'll go around the back. You come out of our bedroom and you go down the hallway and you go into the big room there. And my computer desk is sitting there and my chair. And all of a sudden, my dad swings around. What are you doing? God damn, that shot him. It scared the shit out of me. It's like, what the fuck are you doing up? I couldn't sleep. I said, Dad, you're supposed to keep your feet up. His feet were swelled up like basketballs.
fuck.
I don't want them up no more. I'm tired of this shit. Rah, rah, rah. I said, the dog's raising hell at you. Yeah, I've been seeing him barking there. Well, yeah, he's barking. He don't know what the hell you're doing in this house. You're just sitting there looking at him through the window. Scared the shit out of me.
Like a weirdo.
And then Dad got an infection in his heart sac, and they had to put him in the hospital for 3 weeks when he went through rehab. Oh, that doctor's like, no, you could probably take. No, doctor, listen. The
He's
best
better
place
off
for him is rehab. Then you just keep him in
him
rehab.
here, you know.
He's better
Yeah.
off with
I love my
Your
dad,
dad,
but
This is
listen,
the
y'all
best
can,
place for him to get healthy.
Y'all can take care of him for a little bit. It's all right.
If not, I'm gonna be the one sitting in here next. 'Cause This is
Exactly.
killing us.
Yeah. Or he'll be in the morgue because I'm going to strangle him in his sleep one
but
night.
I shot him. I'm just scared the shit out of me.
Boy, that-
Well, what do you got a gun for? You know,
Yeah.
shit. There's a damn snake outside.
You know how bad you would have felt if you did shoot him,
Shot
though?
your own dad?
Oh,
Oh, yeah.
my God.
I shot a guy one time, or kid
Had a
one
guy.
time. No, I shot a kid one time when I was hunting, dove hunting, when I was 12 years old.
Right.
With Dad. Dad, dumb little fucker shouldn't have walked in front of everybody. The kid walked in some trees. We didn't even know he was there. And this kid, we're dove hunting. And this kid walks on the other side of the fence and through a tree row of mesquite trees, like 30 or 40 yards from us. And we're shooting, everybody's shooting this way. And I shot, and this kid comes walking at the door. He's got blood like coming down his vest and shit.
Oh, fuck.
And boy, I thought, oh shit. And I snuck on back to the back. I
Yeah.
way back in the back. The sheriff came and all kinds of shit. And I was scared to death. And the sheriff's like, asked what happened. That dumb little fucker shouldn't want to cross the road for everybody. You know, Dad, I'm glad he's going to be okay. He wasn't,
Yeah.
And Dad's like, no, that's all right. You know, the sheriff's
Yeah.
like, it's his own fault.
My uncle did the same thing to my dad.
Shot him.
Yep. And the first thing my dad said, don't tell my wife.
Luckily, this kid was far enough off. It got some pellets inside of him, but
Yeah.
it could have been his face or whatever it was.
Well, my dad, the story that he told me is he saw his brother pull up to shoot a bird, and he ducked and turned. He said he had to strip down butt ass naked, and they were pulling pellets out of him in the field. He said I think he had like, I don't even know, 40 pellets that they pulled out of him or something.
This same kid was playing with some baling wire in the barn one day and was flipping it around and fucking pulled his eyeball out.
Oh, my goodness.
That's
He's just cursed.
God
some bad-
damn.
Look at your eyeball on a damn piece
Yeah,
of baling
fuck
wire. So that shit happens.
What happened to the NFL player? He did something to his eye.
Oh, he got hit with a bag. A referee threw a
No way.
yes. The referee threw a flag and hit him right in his eyeball. Had to have surgery. Lineman for the Cleveland Browns about 10 years ago.
No. This was.
Are you talking about
last
the one?
week.
Yeah, like
Oh,
recent?
I don't know.
He's a tight end, I thought.
Yeah, I haven't heard
I don't know.
anything about that.
I
But
didn't get to watch much football traveling this last week. I had to pick and choose what I got to watch.
Fuck, what team does he play for? He was as good as the tight end.
Speaking
can be
of
this year.
NFL, Tom Brady, you can put a fork in him. He is done.
They're getting a divorce. Did you see?
Well, that's still, I mean, who do you think he bangs next?
Hopefully,
Somebody
me.
famous?
Something for that money.
I guarantee you, it's
That's
gonna
why
be
people don't
somebody
like you,
fucking
Andy.
famous and crazy as fuck.
So Britney Spears.
Probably.
Yeah, that would be up to the deal. I don't. Tom always seemed like a real round up guy. He's a great guy. He's the greatest quarterback to ever play. He's just played too long. He should not played this year. And I think the divorce probably would have happened 3 or 4 years down the road anyways. I think
Yeah.
they were headed that way. Two different lifestyles.
Well, there's a reason he came back out of retirement.
I mean, she
Right.
probably
You know what I
bitches
mean?
a lot.
Yeah.
You know she does.
Well,
Guaranteed.
and he's already signed the Fox deal. So, like, even next year, he's going to be on the road. He's going to make more money broadcasting than he did playing. So,
And then Aaron Rodgers, I think, signed with Showtime. I saw yesterday or something.
Yeah, he's
Yeah,
done
he's going
too.
to play Frank Gallagher in the next remake of Shameless because that's what he looks like.
Yeah.
But he's done also. Those
Yeah.
guys are done. But Tom, I hope Tom in that lifestyle, he's going to find some other supermodel chick. But God Almighty, why would you want someone that high maintenance? Fuck.
I don't know. I wouldn't want any part of that shit.
The $300 million she's worth would be real nice. I would trade Shell
Yeah.
for that in a heartbeat.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
If
for
someone
sure.
come to me and they said, "I tell you what, I'll give you $100 million and you have to let Shell go her own way," I'd say, "Do you want me to pack 3 bags for her or 5?"
Yeah, exactly. I'll go ahead and
For
pack
$100
this
million,
shit.
yes. You know, money can't buy happiness, but you can rent your misery.
Yeah, for sure. You can do whatever the fuck you want when you got that kind of money.
For $100 million, Andy,
I heard somebody say, if you don't think money buys happiness, you just don't know where to fucking shop.
that's exactly right.
Here we go.
There are a lot of rich, miserable people, but
Sure.
they would be they'd be a whole lot more miserable if they were poor.
Oh yeah, yeah.
You know, I would like to try some of that misery out.
Money is not the root of all evil. Like,
Well, people are.
right. You can facilitate your bad behavior a little bit easier when you're worth $100 million. Nobody tells you no anymore.
Your old football coach told me something one time playing golf that has made sense to me, and I'll never, ever forget this. And it's an old saying, but I'd never really paid attention to it. And he said, it's easier for a poor man to go to heaven than it is a wealthy man.
It's easier for a
it's easier
camel. It's easier to squeeze a camel
same.
through the eye of a needle than a rich man to go to heaven.
That's right. And there's a lot of truth to that. And it really is.
I don't know.
You don't think so? I think so. Because a rich man has
They think they can just pay their way out of anything that happens.
That's a big thing, and they get more freedoms because they can afford. And they have a guy that goes to work 8 to 5 that just barely is paying his bills, that goes home to mama every night and has a meal and sits down with his family and his kids. He doesn't have free time to get in trouble doing shit.
Right.
First of all blame is on the man himself or the woman, whoever it is. That's
Right.
who the fault is. It's not on nobody else, on society. It's on that person. But they have more options in their life to do stupid shit.
Yeah.
When a man that is stuck 8 to 5, just barely trying to make it, he don't have time for nothing else.
Well, and who's going to if you're worth $100 million, let's say, we'll just throw that number out, and you're taking your entourage to every corner of the earth, which one of them is going to tell you no? No, you shouldn't do that. That's a bad idea. Then you're going to get kicked out of the fucking club.
Exactly.
So all these people just keep they keep reinforcing this bad behavior, and then they look up and then they're in rehab. Well, it's like, yeah, you're in rehab because you didn't have a circle around you that would tell you, no, that's a bad idea. You shouldn't do that.
Yeah, they didn't have real friends. They had friends that were around them because they had fucking money.
Exactly.
They didn't have anybody looking out for them. They just wanted to be a part of their group.
Right. I'd rather be with you while you're doing dumb shit than, miss out on this ride. But, so women file for, it's not all on the man. Women file for divorce 70% of the time.
Well, just because you file doesn't mean you're wrong.
It means you're the one that was tired of the relationship. And
well, maybe
he
had a good reason.
I'm just telling you, women are the ones that file for divorce 70% of the time.
That doesn't mean they're guilty of anything. They had enough of his shit. Maybe he done something wrong.
Maybe not. Maybe she's just
another reason why nobody likes Andy.
Maybe
right
she's
here.
trying to.
She's sitting here fucking laughing.
Well, it's true.
Maybe she's trying to trade up.
Okay.
Maybe the man's not holding up his end of the bargain, and she's like, you know what?
So the person that files for divorce is the guilty one, is what you're saying.
I'm saying that the person that files for divorce is the one that is like, this is enough. You're not holding up your end of the deal.
But that doesn't mean they're wrong. For example, Jerry Lee Lewis just died. Just got a text. I don't know why the hell did. Damn, Jerry's gone.
Fuck, Jerry's gone.
But Jerry Lee Lewis called the killer for a reason.
Yeah.
That wife,
Killed his wife.
The one
did
that
he marry his sister?
And his third cousin or something,
Okay.
or 13-year-old cousin or something. It was,
Right.
it was before 1960, so it was okay. So anyways, and he's from Arkansas, and that's normal there. So anyways, so if his wife would have filed for divorce, would she have been guilty? He was beating the shit out of her?
No.
So you would have been okay with her filing for divorce?
Yes.
Okay, so I don't understand.
There's gray areas. Once
Gray
again,
areas.
you're going to this black and white bullshit again. So
we listened to that podcast, that you had the guys from Wichita Falls come down.
Oh, yeah,
So we
yesterday.
listened to it
Yeah.
coming
Fentanyl
down
one.
here. Yeah. And they were talking about the gray areas, and you said, attorneys, when they come out of law school, it's black and white.
No common sense at all. One of my
Yeah.
best friends is an attorney, and I swear to God, he left a smart man and come back a fucking idiot.
That's what school does to you.
I'm telling you right now, he was a sharp guy, a lot of common sense and shit, and 3 years have diluted him with no common sense at all. You know where attorneys come from? Anal sex.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But he is I know a lot of attorneys, and I'm going to tell you what, Dobby that was with us is a smart dude. I'm telling you, you can tell by busy, very sharp man.
Mm-hmm.
I was not the smartest guy in the room yesterday, I can tell you that much. Close second maybe, but not first.
I don't even know. Like after you left, we were talking about how smart James is.
James is a smart guy.
I mean, he knew his vast knowledge of just everything and the way that different drugs affect you. He was very, very sharp.
James reads a lot, too.
I think most people that come from where he came from are pretty smart people as well.
You had to.
Because he come from the avenues in Wichita Falls.
No,
and there's not a lot of people there that are real
he's
smart.
he's saying being
Yes.
Like on the drug side of things,
James
being,
James is a sharp dude.
You
Always
gotta
been
be-
smart. He just didn't apply himself.
Right.
He applied himself in the wrong way. He
Yeah.
probably could have been a chemist. Because a lot of those guys are borderline scientists anyways.
Yeah.
James is a sharp
and
guy.
everything just makes sense to him.
Yep.
You know.
and that's why he is where he is now, because now he's got a success. He channeled all that in another route, and now he's very successful in a legitimate way.
Yep.
He owns a trucking
truck
business.
company. Great dude. I've known him since he was a freshman in high school.
God damn, do not want to get in the trucking industry. Jesus Christ.
It'd be tough right now.
It's a tough go right now, big time.
I mean, I deal with these guys every day,
Yeah.
you know, and like the shit that
Right,
they
because
have
you're a diesel mechanic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The shit that they have to deal with. No fucking shot. I'm doing that.
And they're saying now that trucking industry is going to be the next big. It's all going to be automated. It's going to be robots on the road.
That ain't gonna happen.
Hold on. Do you know what industry has gone to automation that you would never think?
Airlines.
Dairy.
How the fuck is somebody gonna go out there and get the damn cow out of the damn stuck in a
Listen
fence
to me.
or whatever it is?
There is a dairy farm. I think it's Wolf in
Windthorst?
Windthorst. All automated. There's 2 people that work there.
What in the
Them
fuck?
some bitches work 400 hours a week though.
Not anymore.
Yeah.
The people that run it don't.
All they do is they make a couple rounds a day and make sure the robots are doing everything. $25 million to get the setup. But
It's money and milk. I'm telling you.
so
How long? I mean,
they milk them the cow will milk when it's ready. So when a cow is lactating, they're motivated by starch. So they put food where they want the cow to go. So when the cow's ready to eat, and then it develops this reward system. So I can go eat, and then the robots will come up when they all wear collars.
right.
Walks into the milking station, the robot comes up,
Where'd
milks
you hear
her.
this at?
Charlie and David Keeler, they did a whole tour of it.
Oh, that'd be interesting.
Once a month, they go on like a tour of different places in the state, and it was this dairy farm in Windthorst. So the robot will come up, milk it. It monitors how much it milks, how long it milked for, how much it eats. And so when a cow eats, it pushes it. It does its nose like that, so it pushes food out over. 3 times a day, a robot will come down the aisle and push all of the food that the cow spilled and put it right back into the feed trough for them. They lay on water beds, and it's all like padded because they figured out hard surfaces are hard on a cow's hooves. So by changing the surface that they stand on and that they lay on, they can get a milk cow for 3 years longer on average than because their hooves start to go out.
I wonder
because
what
of
a
all the
milk
weight.
cow cost. Because, if you buy a cow, you're going to spend $1,000, I guess. I don't know, whatever the market price is. But a good dairy cow has got to be worth a shitload of money.
And then, so they can tell by monitoring it, it's kind of like a Fitbit. So they can tell how many times a day that cow stands up. When a cow goes into heat, her activity spikes. She gets up and down a lot more. So they know that she's ready to breed 3 days before she shows any sign that she is coming into season. It also monitors her vitals. So you can also tell when a cow's getting sick about 4 or 5 days before a vet could tell you based off of what the monitor's reading. And then they'll get it started on penicillin. The robots know because you can't sell a cow that's on antibiotics milk. The robots know, okay, cow, whatever is on antibiotics. It milks it. It goes straight into the ground. They don't even put it into production. Daisy comes about 3 times a day and gets all the milk, and they use it for sour cream and Chipotle.
That's where they sell.
That's where they sell all
They
of.
sell to Daisy or to Chipotle.
Yep.
You know,
for sour cream.
Brian Hall. That's what he does. He drives it. He drives picks up big bulk milk.
But they do that. It's all automated. There's 2 people that work there, and they just make sure that the robots are there's not a big glitch. But I thought, can you imagine? There's dairy farmers, hardest workers in America.
Yes,
you're married to that job. You've got to milk cows 3 times a day, 2 times a day. They're sun up to sundown. There's always something to do. Not here. Not anymore.
I want to play softball against them guys now. When I was in college,
Right.
in Wichita Falls, we used to play a team from Scotland and Windthorst, and they were called the Udder guys. And they were all dairy guys. And you shake your hand after a game's over with. Them fuckers, I'm telling you right now, you couldn't work the next day. Your hand's so sore.
Yep.
So every time I shake someone's hand now, like, damn, you from Windthorst, Texas? Because them big old boys could shake a hand. And they could beat your ass at softball some years too. Well, now they're going to get soft.
Yeah.
Well, and their football team was always stout because, hell, they worked sun up to sundown.
Yeah, exactly.
So, like, they were some cornbread motherfuckers.
So 2 guys run. I wonder how many cows are milking. That's very interesting.
I can't remember the cow number off the top of my head. But
This
yeah, every one of them, they just.
I mean, it's got to be a pretty big operation if they're selling.
There's
to
$25 million
Daisy.
If you got
to
$25 million
Yeah.
to set this little thing, I think it's all up on YouTube. Their whole production. They're very proud of from what my father-in-law and the other guy were saying. Like, they're very welcoming to people that want to come and like see the operation. Like,
I got some friends in Windthorst. I'm gonna message and see about we couldn't get one of the Wolves on here with us to talk about it.
And they're gonna have no I can't remember how all this works, but they're going to be zero carbon emissions. Like they take all the flatulence from the dairy and like they somehow repurpose it to do something else. And I can't even tell you.
So it's a going green dairy farm.
Yeah, and all of the waste gets pushed down, and then it all the water gets refiltered and reverse osmosis. They've got fans everywhere, so there's no flies in the whole place.
Well, if you ask some guys from California, cows produce more emission than cars. So,
right, yeah.
I mean, it doesn't make any sense to me, but
so there's fans everywhere. So no flies are in this entire facility because there's no surface that there's not enough air. They can't land anywhere. So no flies go in there. During the coldest part of the year, it never gets below like 60. And during the hottest part of the year, they've got enough ACs and stuff. It never gets above like 80 in there. So,
well, this is not the dairy I grew up hunting on. I grew up hunting in Windthorpe. So we shot a lot of our ducks. Matter of fact, me and Tony both shot banded ducks the same day on a pond down there. We hunted down there, grew up there. But in the summertime, we used to go catfish fishing there all the time. Boy, it fucking stunk. Woo!
Oh, I can imagine.
Oh, it was just but man, it was an old fashioned dairy. They probably milked 50 cows, and that was there. But they were the hardest working, great people. And I'm guessing 50 might have been 100 head of cattle. But it was just it's crazy that's a very interesting deal. JP Andy, Zach's friend, he sells all that stuff, dairy.
The automation stuff?
I don't know if he's automation. I'm going to have Zach reach out to him. Or I've got his number. I'm going to message. Because he used to sell all kinds because he goes all overseas and stuff, setting up dairies with products and stuff. And could you imagine the conversation at that house when they talked about doing this the first time and the old farmer was like, you've lost your damn mind.
Oh,
yeah. Spend $25 million.
Yeah, that some bitch got up and laughed and walked
Or go
out.
to a bank and say, listen, I want to borrow $25 million to... That's a tough. That's
now I know why they invite everybody to come look at it. If I spend $25 million on something,
I'm showing that shit off.
Exactly.
I wonder how many cows they milk a day. That's because you got to milk a lot to pay that kind of bill, that note off.
Talk to Charlie. Charlie knows all the numbers and stuff. But
I mean, it's got to be an astronomical amount.
Okay, here, this is 10 years ago. Surely it wasn't that around that long ago. But this says, let me see. This might not be the video, but let me look. If the internet's going to cooperate.
While you're looking for that, I'm going to run to the restroom.
Yeah, go ahead. That's in Windthorpe, but I don't know. I don't think
that's an old boy hooking them up right there.
Yeah. So I don't think that's going to be the one. Fast forward a little bit.
They're waiting to be milked.
Yeah, they're all milk. They're all hand milk. Or no, they're putting them up to machines. So
well, they don't hand milk nothing.
Right,
it's all machine wise.
But they're doing that. Like they don't even do that anymore. The cow walks and so this one. Or here, let me go back one more. How robots are saving dairy farms. We'll see what this one has to offer. Probably not much, but I kind of thought the same thing that you did. You were going to laugh whenever I said that trucking is going to go automated, but this would have been the last thing that I thought.
I would have not thought
could
the
have
dairy
ever
farms.
gone automated.
Trucking is not going to because there's too many things. A flat tire,
too many things that
yes.
fail.
It's the first of all, the electronic shit is not going to work in big industry. It's just not going to happen. You can't take a truck, an 18-wheeler.
So there's the robot that pushes everything. There it was, and like I said, I have no idea. I'm just assuming all this. Yeah, so it pushes it closer to them so that they can eat. And they've all got those collars on.
That's interesting.
But what's gonna fail is that not everybody's gonna be able to
afford this.
So
basically what we're doing is we're going to get into only big businesses or in the agriculture business. We're going to be relying on 3 people for our food.
Pretty much. And you better hope that none of them go bankrupt or die. Because, anyway, you can look at it.
Somebody was telling me the other day that California is going to outlaw all diesel-powered equipment, even agriculture equipment. It's got to be.
That'll never work. When you're cutting your wheat, you ain't got time to sit for 10 hours for a combine to charge up,
especially
or whatever.
If you're trying to beat a rain.
That's and another thing also is people don't understand work ethic when it comes to working for yourself.
Right.
When you work, if you're not doing something you passionately love, or you don't work for yourself, you don't want to put in more than 8 hours a day. I don't give a shit what you are. There ain't anybody working that's a car hop at Sonic, and I'm probably going to get my ass in trouble over this shit.
Oh, for the first time.
But shit, I've had a lot of things. But that girl that's a car hop at Sonic, she's having to pay her bills. She does not like what she does. There's nobody working at Sonic that loves being a car hop. That's not a 16-year-old kid.
You don't know that.
Well,
we only like you told me yesterday. We only talk facts on here, and you don't know that.
Okay, well there you go. Well, that's not a fact. That's my opinion on the deal. But when you work for yourself, or you're a farmer, and your money is getting that crop out, you might work 20 hours in a day, or 23, or 27, or 34, because that's what it takes to get your shit done, and you're on a timeline of getting paid.
Exactly.
The difference between getting that crop out and not. Well, you need that combine to run nonstop. You want to fill it up. You don't even like taking 15 minutes to fill the son of a bitch up, but you have to.
Yeah.
On these electronic vehicles, you can't sit it down for 8 hours.
No.
You know, that's just not going to happen in construction. In New York City, I'm behind a bus the other day, diesel combustion bus and stuff.
Mm.
That bus runs probably 20 hours a day other than routine maintenance. They've got a driver at night because that city never sleeps. How are you going to stop all your buses from it? Are you going to buy extra 3 buses 3 times the deal so you don't have to worry about putting them down? You can't do that.
I'm sure they'll have a fucking generator on board that runs off diesel.
Yeah, that's the thing right there. You cannot stop that shit.
No.
You still got to make electricity to charge them.
Exactly.
Elon Musk says his idea is that the energy, whenever you brake, there will be an energy transfer that goes to your battery. Because I think that's the way his car is, or his truck is going to be. No. He's making 18-wheelers, and he said that he's going to have, every time the brake is depressed, it'll go to charge the battery.
That might be the answer. But what they have today is not going to work. John Deere, when they go to electric motors and shit, I wish Stanfield had the money to build a tractor that we could compete with them on, because whoever stays in the diesel stuff is going to be ahead of the game.
Yeah. Because
the diesel guy, the electric engine is not going to work on farms and heavy-duty construction. Those coal mines, how they going to pull all that coal out to burn that power plant?
I mean,
they're going to have diesel engines to do it.
Yeah, I mean, so I work on the oil field side of shit. There is no way that anything electric would do what we need it to do.
The bottom line in D.C. is money. That's the bottom line of the whole deal. Do you think our United States government really wants to go without the tax dollars they get out of the fossil fuel business? No. We couldn't afford to do shit if it wasn't for the taxes in Texas that the oil field companies pay.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm telling you right now, you can go without a hunting outfitters deal. You can go without some guy that owns a painting company or an electrician or somewhere.
Right.
You cannot go without the tax dollars generated from the oil and gas industry in Texas.
No.
You just shut us down.
I mean, just think about the jobs that would be lost.
They don't even care about that, but just the tax dollars that they would lose. It'd be horrible.
Yeah. The economy would be completely fucked.
All right, let's talk Oklahoma hunting for a minute. We were going to talk hunting. We had you on here talk about hunting a little bit. So
talked about everything.
You guide around El Reno, Oklahoma?
Hold on. There's Musk's 18-wheeler, which looks like all of his other shit that he's got coming out.
Coke.
500 miles. Pepsi's going to take the first one.
I'm pretty sure Coca-Cola tried that out in California.
Oh, I'm sure they did.
And it was a fucking utter failure.
Yeah, and for the record, I'm not defending electric 18-wheelers. I'm just telling you, I think that I've heard that Elon Musk is obviously rolling out with 18-wheelers, semi trucks.
You're getting as gun shy as the Kennedys now.
Well, I mean, you got to spell things out for people. So I am not defending the freight company.
You're just talking about it.
Right.
Yeah.
People don't, if you talk about something, it's like Beetlejuice. If you say it too many times, it's real and you defend it. So, but anyway, I think I'd heard that the generator is going to be charged by pressing the brake.
If there are some uses where you could have a robot do some jobs.
Yeah.
There are some things out there.
Apparently the dairy farm.
The dairy farm was one of them. I did not expect that. There are some pissed off dairy hands that are without work now. But any big industry, anything that requires heavy machinery and stuff is not the game for the electric motor, I don't think. Mm-hmm. When they start making planes out of electric motors, that's why don't we do that? Now, my example.
My ass ain't hopping on there.
No.
I got charge this motherfucker before we get up and going.
I got stuck in Tulsa, Oklahoma the other night, and it took 2.5 hours to get our plane refueled because there was 25 of them there. Could you imagine if we'd had to plug into a generator for 8 or 10 hours to charge that sumbitch up to get me home?
Wait for 25 other planes to charge first?
That's the thing that they're going about. I noticed too, every time I go by a place that's got electric, the Tesla charging centers or whatever it is, they're never full.
No.
Now, you see videos of California where everybody's got them and people are waiting in line to charge for 6 hours.
Do you see those big ass generators that run off natural gas that are sitting right there in front of them?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's right. But people
You
don't
know?
see that. They don't.
No.
They can't see past that shit.
I saw a dickhead that had a generator in the back of his Tesla. So his generator ran out of gas. And this might have been a spoof. I hope it was a spoof. He's stranded on the side of the road with a gas can, needing somebody to give him gas. And they're like, why do you need gas? You got an electric vehicle. Well, I run it off my generator. I generator runs and I charge it.
That's
It's
fucking
like
awesome.
off of gas. Like,
That's the reason you're driving an electric
that's
vehicle.
why you're driving an electric vehicle, is to
Exactly.
not have to buy gas. Oh, no, I need gas. So I hope that video was a spoof.
Someone had someone on Facebook the other day, and it's Facebook, so no tell if it was right. That they had a bill from a car dealership, a replacement battery on a Tesla.
Over 20 grand.
Yeah, did you see that too?
Yeah.
$20,000 for a fucking battery.
I think it was like 26,000 or some shit.
I went interstate, and I'm bitching when they charge me $140 for a battery.
Exactly.
You know, 20 grand.
Yeah.
For a battery?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You might as well just fucking scrap the car and buy a new one.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I mean, they're not that much more expensive, probably. Range Rover, though, some of our friends have a Range Rover, and they were talking about the oil change. You only get it changed once a year, but like, it's like $5,000 to change your oil.
Do what?
Yeah.
What in
Boy,
the
that's my
fuck?
dream car because I've always wanted a Range Rover. Every time I drive by one, I tell myself, one of these days I'm gonna buy me one of those.
Let me double check, but it was a lot because they were telling us like we go once a year to get our oil changed, but it's a couple grand. I was like, holy shit!
Who's your friend that drives a Range
Don't
Rover?
worry about me, Jeff. I got people all over. I got people everywhere.
You're running in some high cotton there, Andy.
Yeah.
People
That's
are
what I'm
paying.
thinking.
Yeah, who do you hang out with? Oh, they pay $5,000 a year for oil changes. Damn.
Yeah, that's fucking crazy.
This says, maybe I'm wrong, about 300 to 350. I'll text Jesse.
Well, that's
she'll
cheap.
remember, but not if you're. I don't know if you're doing it once.
So it's charging $350?
Yeah.
That's not bad. That's for once a year.
No. If that's once a year, yeah, that's not bad at all.
I get my oil changed every 2 to 3 months,
Right,
and it
me
costs
too.
me $80.
$80.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Right.
you're talking 4 times will be $320. It's the same thing.
Yeah.
I'm back on get me a Land.
There you go. Go
Range
get your
Rover
Range
now.
Rover right
There
now.
you go.
I think they're sharp looking vehicles.
You can go do it.
So you hunt in Oklahoma. You guide in Oklahoma.
Yes.
Now you're hunting north of the interstate, right?
Yeah, we stay, for the most part, we stay north of I-40.
And that's the real wet area that's full of water, right? And everybody tells me there's no water up there. I see guys bitch all the time. They say north of I-40, there's no water. South, it's all south. Is that true or not?
Depends on the year.
No, I'm talking about right now.
Right now, yeah, I mean, we do have water up there. We don't have a whole lot of it, but we have water that's going to hold birds. Yeah,
And no corn,
correct.
no Milo.
Correct.
So it's going to be winter wheat
And beans.
and beans. Beans are a hit and miss deal, though.
Yep.
Y'all are in the same boat everyone else is in right now.
Yeah. I'm kind of afraid to see what's gonna happen.
There is not. I had someone message me yesterday, and I can't remember where they were from Louisiana. Guy that's got hunt booked with me for Louisiana, hunts in Louisiana,
Mhm.
and he was talking about the cane. There's so much sugar cane right now; it's running out. He said we have water down here. He said our problem is a lot of our food sources have become sugar cane, which is not a food source now.
right.
He said it's dry, but he said we can have water to pump. So he said the traditional places that you could are going to be with water. He asked me, he said, do you think it's going to be a good year or bad year? I said, I have no idea. I'm telling you right now, it's going to depend on winter.
Yeah.
But I said, there are places, and we've talked about this for 3 months now. There are places that traditionally are really good hunting places that are going to be terrible this year because of lack of water.
Right.
And there's somebody somewhere that usually doesn't have very good hunting that's going to have a stellar season this year because of water.
Right.
And then them suckers are going to go double their books for the next year, and they're not going to have no birds the next year.
Exactly.
Things going to go back to the normal places.
Exactly.
But this is going to be a telltale sign for that because I think from Clinton, Oklahoma, all the way to South Dakota, there's a big void right there where there's not a lot of food.
Yeah, I mean, so I've had to go to Amarillo a couple times here pretty recently for work, and just driving out there. I mean, there's no food
Nothing?
source. I mean, everybody's just waiting. They were waiting for moisture to put wheat in the ground. You know.
Now they've had it now because our wheat looks great around here.
Yeah.
Starting to.
We've got a big ranch north of us that we hunt on, and we've got geese and cranes on it. Last year we had a lot of cranes on it, but there was 25,000 acres of wheat seed everywhere. There was no reason for them to go to a certain place, or they just would hop somewhere else. Well, this year it's going to all be different stages. You know,
Right.
there's going to be places that's going to have wheat that's going to be ankle deep to up your shin, and then we're going to have some places that's going to be they put in late. But We have wheat. All the wheat's going to make it right now.
Right.
Now we're starting to be cooling off a little bit where the army worm shouldn't be a problem.
They were in that snow, the big February snow we had a couple years ago.
What was?
Army worms.
We're in the snow?
Fuck yeah. They said whenever that snow thawed, I guess it created like an insulation barrier, but they noticed when the snow thawed, like army worms just went to town.
Really?
That's crazy.
Yeah, because, you know.
I thought once it got cold, they didn't have to deal with them anymore.
Well, I mean, hell, we had a tick issue after it thawed out.
Really?
Yeah. I got covered a couple times in ticks.
No shit. I hadn't seen a tick in a long time.
It's been dry.
What do you think about? Okay, so y'all are hunting this year.
And I was wrong. So it says, I'm gonna go back to this Range Rover, $350, but you got to change it every 5,000 miles.
The same as everything else.
So,
but it's $350.
Yeah.
That is expensive. Then
I knew it was expensive.
So if a guy puts on 30,000 miles in a year, which is not uncommon if you live out somewhere other than a big city, that's $2,100 a year in just oil changes. Where the average car you're paying $500. So
yeah,
but if you can afford a Range Rover, then you're not worried about it.
Well, you're not. If that's like what do they say? If you got a bitch about the gas that goes in a private jet, you probably don't need the private jet.
That's exactly right. There ain't a guy in a private jet going, "Nah, we're gonna go to the next terminal." You know?
Can't do it. You're not price shopping. So anyway, I was part right, part wrong. Mostly wrong.
Have you noticed the last couple of years a lack of widgeons?
Yes, we have. So I mean, we still shot a handful of them. So a couple of years ago, our usual was if we were shooting widgeon, we were shooting gadwall. Last year was mainly gadwall.
When we shoot widgeons, we shoot a lot of widgeons. I mean, if you're going to on a field wheat and the geese, the widgeons are in there,
you're not going to shoot 3 or 4.
You're going to shoot a bunch.
Right.
You might shoot 20, you might shoot 60, but you're going to shoot a bunch of widgeons.
Right.
We haven't had very many of them days in the last couple of years. It's like they've disappeared.
Somebody sent me a thing from, I'll pull it up on the big screen, but Ducks Unlimited did this is one of the ones that I saw. It was a pintail. It showed pintails, and like they've shifted west. Like they didn't even have any of them coming to us, which is wrong because we got
a ton of them.
They're already here.
Whole bunch. We've got some right now.
We're lacking water right now, but we'll have them in the wintertime. We'll be covered up with pintails. We always are. The what you're seeing though is like the widgeons and stuff, and the pintails that are shifting west. What's going to happen this year? Because people are forgetting there's a big portion of California that's not going to have any hunting at all on, hardly at all.
Right.
I mean, they've closed down the refuges and stuff. Are those birds going to sit there and live in peace and go back up and breed more, or are we going to see those birds shift from there because of the lack of water and stuff and move further east?
Let me get this on my.
And then when you see these collar studies that people do, you see birds that jump from east to west a ton. We always thought of a bird traditionally moving from north to south. Well, there's a bird that'll come from here, it'll go to Arkansas, and then it'll go all the way back to Colorado, and then it might go to the Dakotas, and then it might go north. They just bounce so much. So that area looks like right at us. There's a bunch of birds.
Well, I can't really tell. No, like, so obviously down there, but then that looks like more West Texas. That looks like more.
Can you pull it a little bit more in?
That's like almost New Mexico.
That's what I was thinking.
That's New Mexico.
Is that the widgeons?
No, that's pintails.
Oh, well, I'm telling you right now, Clovis, New Mexico area has become a hot area.
So this says as part of a research study with, and for those of you watching on YouTube, you can read along, with the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service, Haviland Nation, and Ducks Unlimited, TPW has been tracking the migration of northern pintail to learn more about the iconic species. Check out this map, pulling pintail locations over the last 3 years.
See where it comes.
So we've marked 140 birds.
Right.
So I mean.
But you see where it funnels in at? That's going to be around Brownsville, probably.
That's right.
Or no, that's going to be. No, go on back to that again. That's going to probably be about Laredo or Del Rio.
Well, that says Monterey.
No,
there.
but when you cross the border there, you're going to be looking at Laredo or Del Rio, probably from Monterey, because that's due.
You mean this big funnel right here?
Yes, that is going to be the Texas. That is going to be the bottom of
border,
Texas.
Rio
well,
Grande?
no, because it would be the water if it was on the bottom.
What do you mean that would be the
see
water?
the Y? See where the Y is?
Yes.
If you went straight to the water right there.
Yes.
No, straight down. That's going to be the Houston Ship Channel. See how it's got the big curvature in it?
This one or this one?
No, way to the left. That's Louisiana. Keep going around.
That ain't Louisiana.
I can't pull it up a little bit more. No, I mean not down. Make it.
This is Houston.
Can you not make it any? Well, I guess you're right there. Okay. Well, they're numbered. The Houston's not that far from the water.
I don't know. Well, I mean, but and I don't know what blue represents and what green represents, but
There's probably a chart that says it.
I don't see it.
I think that's just pintail. Is all it says.
Yeah, but I don't know what the green is and what the blue is. But yeah, I thought this was interesting that these are like way out. It looks like New Mexico.
Well, the way that map is, that's probably going to be West Texas, somewhere up in the Panhandle.
Right. Yeah, because I mean, Houston, like you said, Houston's not that far in.
No, if it is, then that's the Texas Panhandle right there.
So
That's
if you
probably-
shift everything east, like it maybe should go, that would put them right about
us,
where we would think.
Yep.
Who knows? I just thought it was an interesting thing.
This is going to be an unusual year for all waterfowl hunting.
I wonder if Colorado is going to benefit a lot more than
They could.
I think they're
100%
dry
than
though,
normal.
crop wise. I don't know how their crop's done. I don't know if they got a lot of corn. I don't know if they got. That's going to be the thing. Is
Well,
you're going.
Blake's 10 minutes from Colorado, and they don't have anything.
They don't have shit. That's what I'm saying. There's going to be places that are going to be.
Yeah.
But there might be a little valley in Colorado that's got a lot of food this year that normally is just another place with a lot of food, but them birds are going to be concentrated into that area because of the food situation.
Well, they didn't really have a whole lot of snow melt either to give them water, did they?
No.
So there's a drought monitor right now, and it looks like.
Kansas is horrible.
But Blake's right there in the
Yes.
crook,
Yep.
and that's severe. So I mean, Colorado, most of it looks to be
About
All
like
right.
us. They're about like us.
right. So I don't know how much I mean, they have pivots and stuff, but I don't know how much they rely on irrigation.
Well, it just
and stuff.
depends on what crops they put in too, because
Right.
a lot of guys around us, if they had corn in the ground, they just cut it for silage.
Right.
Super early.
Yeah. But I mean, that's a big swath. If you look at that, that's Kansas, especially southern Kansas, and it's got a lot. We know it's got a lot of outfitters in it, but I don't know. It's going to be a weird year because I think we have a lot of birds that stay for us, the lesser Canadas. A lot of them will stay in this eastern part of Colorado, and
It's going to take a snow to move them.
which I mean, if you go by that monitor, it doesn't look too bad. But like Jeff said, it's going to be a year where.
It's going to make or break a lot of people.
Mm-hmm. And I feel bad for the guy because I think that there's going to be a hot spot somewhere that nobody knows about. And some poor buddy, somebody's going to go set up shop there, and they're not going to go back the next year or on a normal year.
Right.
So they're going to set up an entirely new outfit based on 1 year's results. And then next year, if it goes back to normal, they might be screwed. And they might not be. Maybe they'll start going these places every time.
And we're due for like a legitimate cold winter anytime.
What is your due? What are you going by? How many years? You're 23 years old.
Right.
So how long do you think?
2016.
So 2 years. Yeah, I think it was 2016 or 2017 was the last time.
And before that?
I don't know.
2000.
30 years in this game, and I can remember maybe 5, 6 actual winners. Maybe. Now, my first 10 years in, it seemed to be cold more. I mean, we had a more normal winter, but I wouldn't been in the business long enough to remember.
Right.
I remember in my lifetime 2 major cold vortexes that I could actually remember. And one of them I was in freaking high school, and it was a cold son of a bitch. And the other one was the vortex we had, 3 years ago in February?
2 years ago.
2 years ago.
Yep.
But that didn't affect hunting at all because it was over when it happened.
So in Oklahoma 2 years ago, we had a freeze in October.
Yeah, we had snow and a freeze here.
Yep.
And it was 75 degrees 2 days later.
Yeah, I guess we did have the snow and the freeze, and then what was it in February of the following?
It was cold.
Yeah, it was like
long
negative 30s.
Extended.
Yeah,
that's what we had when I was a kid for a week long or two. My dad made it sound like it was 30 days, and then you look at the history books, and it was only about 10 or 12 days.
Yeah.
But
He
it
lied
was
to us.
cold. But it was a cold time.
I think the thing that we really need, and I think you guys are in the same boat, is a consistent weather pattern.
When I first got into the hunting business, decades and decades ago, it seems like ago, we would have a cold front or a change to north wind once a week.
Yeah.
Sometimes it would be a north wind would blow for 2 or 3 days. Sometimes it would be 8 or 12 hours. But we got a north wind every week. We'd get a north wind.
Yeah.
And our geese would just every time you get a front, you get more birds.
Right.
More birds. And by January, it was froze from the Kansas-Oklahoma border north. When you got to Nebraska-Kansas border, it was white all the way to the North Pole.
Right.
And that was normal.
Right.
That was a normal type
That's
of
what
deal.
you think of when you think of winter.
That's what it used to be like.
Yeah.
Well, we don't have that anymore. But it was snow and cold. Well, so when January got here, we were covered with ducks.
Yeah.
because the ducks come here. I got it to hunt way back in the day, and our duck season used to end in the middle of January, and our goose season would go like a little longer.
Right.
And I remember a morning hunting, and ducks were coming in by the hundreds, mallards, and they would land in the decoys, just land, and they would walk and run. They would feed and walk. It was the craziest shit ever. By within about 30 minutes, you had 1,000 mallards walking, and I'm looking for bands, when them little fuckers are walking by, and they would walk. They'd walk right through your deal. They'd get to the top of the spread. They'd blow up, spin around, and land in the feeding zone, land and feed again. And it was I've never seen that ever again in my life. But it was after duck season was over. But we were just covered with mallards all morning long. But that's because the birds didn't have nowhere else to go. They'd been pushed. There was no food. There was no water. That's what we're lacking.
Right. So 2 years ago when we had that super, super cold front come through in February, so in Oklahoma, our goose season stays open until the second weekend of February.
Right.
But we don't guide that. That's just if we have the birds, we might go out with buddies or whatever. And it was like negative 14 degrees or something. Travis calls me, "Hey, I found a feed." I said, "Okay, I'll go." But I said, "I'm not staying out there very long. It is cold as fuck."
We're either going to have it happen soon or not at all.
Exactly. So we get out there, we sit in the pickup until I see the first group of birds in the air. We go out to the blinds. And I bet we had 400 or 500 ducks just ate it up.
It was the duck weather. They love that stuff.
Yeah. I mean, we had mallard drakes walking around in our spread for 30 minutes.
Where we screwed up during that front, out here, Tony at his house, he's got that pond out front. It's got an aerator in it. It was the only open water for miles. There was, I bet, 5,000 to 10,000 ducks here. We could have set up some spinners in our parking lot.
Yeah.
And we should have videoed ducks. Widgeons and pintails were everywhere. That whole field up there was solid ducks.
I think widgeon is my favorite duck to shoot.
Oh,
they're a lot of fun. But it was because weather.
Right.
Now, that's a once in a 100-year storm or once ever. I've had it. I'm 54 and I've seen that twice. So it's every 25 years on average you're going to have one of those.
Right.
We need to have something like that. But there's no. You go to Nebraska, and there's a ton of guide services now. How many of them guide services have been around for 20 years?
There's not a whole lot of guide services. Period. That have been around.
But how many have been there for 20 years? None.
Right.
And there's a reason why.
Right.
Back in the day, it froze up and all them birds were gone.
Right.
Ron Winnicky worked for me for 2 years. He's Mr. Nebraska. He was everything in Nebraska. Great waterfowl hunting guy. Ron told me after he'd worked for me a couple of years, I called him one time, and it was like this time of year, and we were talking. He goes, "Man, this is a normal winter." He said, "I'm hunting on the Platte right now. We got mallards pushing in." He goes, "I haven't seen this in 4 or 5 years, blah, blah, blah. But this is the way it used to be." Well, that was a normal deal. So normally, that's why there's no outfitters up there, because by the time Thanksgiving gets here on a normal year, they used to be snow locked in and the ground was frozen.
Yeah.
You hunted on the Platte. There's guys still hunted, but you couldn't consistently do it because things are just so different now anyways too, because the big geese are different because every city's got big geese in them now. When I was a kid, you didn't find big geese until you went way up north, Oklahoma City didn't have 10,000 or 20,000 graders like they have in it now.
Right.
I don't know how many geese live in the Oklahoma City metro area, but everywhere you go, there's a flock of them.
Yeah. I mean, you can just drive down I-40, from El Reno to Oklahoma City and see a couple hundred.
Yeah, and that used to not be. You didn't see that back in the 80s and 70s. That didn't happen.
Right.
Wichita Falls has probably got a resident flock. I bet 5,000 birds live in Wichita Falls year round. Those birds, when I was a kid, didn't happen.
Right.
I mean, you didn't see that shit, and it's just very common now.
I wonder how much the fucking Jessie, she was right on.
What?
I asked her about the Range Rover thing, and she right away. I wonder how much the jet stream, because they say it's weakening as a result of the climate changing. I wonder how much of that, because doesn't the jet stream, it has to dip to let cold air in?
That's where your cold. When we get a big dip, the jet stream goes from Alaska
to the Rio
and goes
Grande.
straight down and then comes back up.
Right.
And that we haven't. When we get really cold weather, we get that.
But they say that the jet stream is weakening and it's retreating north.
There's a massive pressure system somewhere off the Pacific. I read a deal the other day. I don't know if it's true or not. That shows it's going to shift quickly towards Maine, and when it does, that we're going to get a huge push of cold air in December here. Don't know if that's true or not. I'm wanting it to be real.
Is
I'm
that
wanting
for
it
this
so
year?
bad.
You're gonna read
for
it?
this year.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's true or not because you see so many models, but this model shows this thing's going to come out of the Pacific, going to go right across where we are, and it's going to shove right up to Maine. When it gets up high like that, it's going to push that dip stream. It's going to come in and dip and go right above it. So what'll happen is it'll dip all through the Midwest, and then it'll ride all the way down, and then it's going to shoot back up. So if that happens, Illinois and Indiana and all that stuff, they're going to get stuck with the dome of hot weather for a long time. Well, we're going to get cold weather to stay here. Don't know if it'll happen, but I can hope.
Probably won't.
Everything that I've seen, they're all saying it's supposed to be cold and snowy for
It's always
down
that way.
here. But
Every duck season it is. Them
Yeah.
fuckers fuck with us.
yeah,
They do. They know
Yeah.
the duck hunter. Like, listen, this is the time. Duck hunters are excited. You put out that little false, dangle that carrot in front of them, they'll be all about it.
There's
Farmer's Almanac. Poor Ron, it let him down
Yep.
every year. He wanted to believe that shit so bad, and every year it's going to be the coldest, wettest winter since 1985. Ron, that would be gospel to him. You
Right.
go to the Bud's Cafe down there to get coffee, and better cut your firewood. You're going to need it this year.
yeah,
Farmer's
every old
Almanac.
guy that's
Yep.
in there drinking
Farmer's
coffee.
Almanac
yeah.
says it's going to be cold and wet, and then it's fucking hot and dry.
same geeks that do the Farmer's Almanac are the ones that work at NOAA that fuck with us. Like, you know what?
yeah, exactly.
I hate
Let's
hunters.
get
So
their
let's
hopes
screw with
up.
them. We get them all
Yeah.
excited about this shit.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And I've gotten to the point where it's like, we'll just see what happens.
The
you know?
that's
About 3 days is about as far as I have any confidence in it
exactly.
being remotely
we'll look
close.
at 10 days
gonna
is
be-
they've already changed my 10-day. It's going to be 55 today and 48, 61 and 44 tomorrow, which is fine. Next weekend, opening weekend to goose season, we got a 50% chance of rain on Saturday. That'll probably happen because it'll be that morning. But it's going to be 76, 72, 75, 71, 72, 71. Those are average temperatures, probably a little below average even.
71?
Probably for the Halloween time. That's probably not that far off. It's not 3 or 4 degrees off at least.
Right.
I mean, but the thing is, you don't see a day in there where the high is 46.
Right.
And that's what we should be starting to see anytime.
Yeah.
Once you get into November, you should be expecting a day in the low 40s for a high.
I don't have any faith that anything is going to be any different. I hope I'm wrong, but I'm pretty much a pessimist. So, yeah, 73 to 52 is average.
Andy's worried about his specs up
in
there in
Abilene.
Canada getting
Oh,
shit pounded right now.
they are. Everybody's posting pictures about how they're just beating my poor little speckle bellies up. I'm glad they're here now. Like they can feel safe, and then I just go wreck their shit next Saturday.
Yeah, exactly.
But we'll see. But it seemed like this year more, and I don't know if it's just that I saw it more, so then I started keying in on it more. But it seemed like everybody up north was hitting the specs pretty hard,
And the snows.
and the snows.
Yep.
So I don't know. I don't know what's gonna happen.
So when do y'all start hunting up there full time? Because when we hunted in Southwest Oklahoma, it is a roll your dice on what kind of winter you've had until after Thanksgiving.
We do not guide until after the split.
Okay, so even after the split, the 1st of December, because that's when
Yep.
we used to start hunting up
Yep.
there, whether it was the first weekend in December, that Monday, or after that, or whatever it was.
Correct.
And they did something smart. They done away with the 2-week split, and made it a
Yes.
1-week split, which was a very
It's
smart
5,
move on
I
their
think
part.
it's 5 days now.
But it used to be 12 days,
Right.
which was dumb as hell.
Yep.
But we never hunted until after that, anyways. Before that, it was always rolling the dice.
I mean, we'll go hunt with buddies or something if we have, but we're not taking clients until after the
Right.
split. Like we won't even open the books because
You're rolling the dice
Yeah.
every year.
well, I mean, you could go find a feed and then get there in the morning and they're down here. You know?
Yeah, we have the birds. That's what makes us. We're very fortunate. Is these calendar birds are here in
Right.
October 15th,
Right.
and they're here from now on. So we know that we can be really busy before Thanksgiving.
We weren't always that way though. We always had.
We
a-
always hunted.
We always hunted opening weekend, but
Right.
like we're going full
bore.
force
We're-
opening
and-
weekend
and that's
because of the early birds that we had. But we weren't always that way. I can
That's
remember
the
like,
last 3, 4, 5 years. It's really gotten better.
when Jesse and I first moved back here after we got married in 2011. Like we would have 1 or 2 groups until November
The middle of November.
15th, 20th,
Yeah.
and then we started ramping up. Now it's just
Steve Barber and them always
Run.
hunted around the 16th, 15th, 16th. That Thursday and Friday, he booked the
it was
same every
always
year,
a push.
and that's right when we starting to get busy.
Right.
But we're busy from opening day on. We're busy because we have the birds here.
Right.
Like I'm running. I mean, we got 3 or 4 different fields we can hunt every day.
And that's what me and Andy were talking about. Oklahoma, the first migration, the first push of birds that you guys get,
Mhm.
they don't even fucking stop.
No.
I
Our
mean,
birds.
Oklahoma gets very minimal early birds.
We have more early geese here in October than they do at Great Bend.
Oh, 100%.
At
Right.
Quivira and at Cheyenne Bottoms. We'll have more geese here then because they're calendar birds.
Right.
And they're here every year like a deal. I set yesterday when I was backyard and I was doing something and I had specks flying over.
I mean, we can
both
watch
ways.
them migrate,
But,
you know.
but my specks ain't migrating. They're going to feed.
Right.
Right.
You know, and there's so many of them now that when they fly over, it's not usually the first of the year. I'm like, oh, that's geese. You know, you go outside, you're all excited.
Right.
By now, it's just every day.
Yeah.
I mean, and they're and right now they're staying north of town a lot, but
Mm-hmm.
we're ready for hunting season. We got duck season this weekend. We have ducks here. We'll see how it goes. Ducks are always hit and miss
Right.
early in the year,
Especially, early.
because you never know what's going to happen. We do need some winter, and hopefully it's coming. All right, how many do you shoot? Mostly the big geese, or you hunting small geese?
We hunt a lot of small geese.
You're shooting the small. That's what everybody wants to do. They need to change the limit in Oklahoma.
They do.
That's a lot.
It is, and it's hard because our clients come up and they're like, well, the limit's 8.
Right.
Yeah,
And you're like, listen, okay, if we have 8 guys in the field, you're looking at shooting over 60 little Canadas plus your specs and your snows.
Mm-hmm.
Because most of the fields that we hunt have all 3 in it.
Right.
It just depends if the snows are going to come.
if you got
play or
6
not.
guys and you shoot 48 geese, are you done? Or are you going to sit there to shoot specks and snows?
No, we'll be done.
See, that's us too.
Yeah.
Well, which we don't shoot that. When we go to Oklahoma, if we have 8 guys, we shoot 40 geese. I'm happy. I think I wish the state of Oklahoma and the federal government would say, you know what, on these little geese, we need to make the limit 5, max of 5.
They need to.
It
you know?
ain't in any outfitter that thinks you're going to lose customers over that, you're not.
No. I mean, tell me another state that has a limit of 8 on dark geese.
I'll tell you this. Well, I think Kansas does.
Do they?
I think so.
Let me look.
I think Kansas does also.
I mean, I'm not saying
It's dumb though. It should be 5 bird limit.
Yeah.
You've had a great hunt. If you got 8 guys and you kill 40 birds, that's a great hunt.
Yeah.
Plus, you're out of the field earlier.
right.
Those birds don't get as much pressure on them.
Right.
And we
6.
as hunters, Kansas is 6.
Yeah.
We as hunters, we need to be better stewards of the game ourselves.
Right.
We need to self-impose some stuff. You know, we're only shooting a 5 bird limit, and that's it. We're done.
Right.
You know, you're not a great hunter. First of all, I'm gonna pop some bubbles here on this deal.
Uh-oh. Send Jeff all the hate
Yeah.
mail for once.
If you shoot little geese and you shoot 100 little geese in a day, that does not make you a great hunter.
No.
They're the dumbest fucking birds they are when you're on the X.
Right.
I don't give a shit who you are.
Exactly.
You find a guy that's out there trying to shoot 100, that's hunting a field with 100 big birds in it, and there are 12 flocks of 8, and it's a little family group, and you're trying to kill those birds outside of an urban area, you are probably a better goose hunter than the guy who's shooting 100 little geese on the X.
First of all, who wants to take 20 fucking guys and try to guide that group?
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I understand it, but I do not like big groups because as a guide, you got to think about all the safety shit that goes on with it.
Mm-hmm.
And you got to have a guide on one end, possibly one in the middle and one on the far end to try to communicate everything together so nothing gets fucked up and somebody gets hurt.
Well, but the opportunity to run 12 to 16 people and shoot 100 geese in a
Right.
big group like that, you got to be on the X. And if you're
Yes.
on the X, you're on the hot spot. And when they're working, they're going to work right in anyways.
And there's nothing dumber
there's-
than a big wad of little geese are the dumbest thing in the world because
Yeah.
like I think they get in like a race with one another. Like I've got to fucking land because I've got 200 jackasses behind me. And if I don't
Exactly.
get there first, I ain't gonna get anything. But these birds, little Canada geese, are the easiest thing in the world to shoot when it's gonna be a hot hunt.
And we've been there lots and lots of times.
You
That's
can't fuck it up.
People all the time will say, yeah, but y'all don't shoot all the little geese like you used to. You think we fucking forgot what we did?
Yeah.
We made a living. Stanfield hunting made our name and living shooting little geese from 1993. You know, we did it every fucking day. It was nothing to it. I guided. I can't even blow a call and used to shoot a limit every day.
Right.
Those birds haven't gotten any smarter from when I was guiding the hunt. If you're on the X.
Right.
When you hunt the X every day, it's easy.
Yeah, and then you shoot into the same group 3 different fucking times.
Yeah,
You know,
and-
because they just come back.
Yeah, they are. They're like ringnecks.
Yeah.
And,
Yep.
and the people get mad because like, oh, you're just saying that because y'all don't kill all the little geese no more. No, it's the fact. But I'm telling you, if we would have been better stewards of our birds years ago and we would have left them alone on the roost water and done some stuff like that, we would probably still have a lot of those little geese here.
That's the other
And we
thing we
might.
deal with is guys fucking shooting the roost in the middle of December.
Well,
Yeah.
and on a year like this,
Yeah.
when water is limited as it is,
Yeah.
you're going to
No.
wake up and those geese are going to be gone and they're
Yeah.
going to go somewhere else.
Yep.
If you'll leave them birds alone on the water, them birds will stay there all year long.
Yeah.
But
Well,
you got to leave them alone on the water.
And last year was a difficult year. I mean, we still had our good hunts, but we had to work a lot harder for them. And then we were sitting in a Milo field one day, and you just hear what sounded like a war zone.
Blew up.
Yeah. And you watch these birds, and you can watch them going back to roost as we're picking up, and they're just getting blown the fuck out of there.
Lifting up, and then you hear the gunshots. And you're like, oh, God.
Yeah.
Yeah. When water's scarce, if they've got 5 or 6 different roosts that they can go to, it's not that big of a deal. But when you're down to 1 or 2,
Yeah.
and you start fucking with them, they're going to look for somewhere that they can set their ass on water and not get shot at. And that's the difference in hunting a field versus hunting water. When water's limited in our neck of the woods, Texas and Oklahoma, when you're down to 1 or 2 roosts, you can't mess with them. But there's dozens of fields. So you shoot them in one field, they just go to the next one.
Exactly.
And it doesn't, you know, they're fine.
Yeah.
You can't, it's not the same on water.
Exactly.
Because, you know, I love and respect Lee Chose. Lee Chose does not like to mess with ducks in the field. Well, it makes sense because he doesn't want he likes to hunt them on water. That way they can go feed. Well, they've got other water where he hunts,
Right.
that the ducks can go, so it's not a big deal.
Right.
But my mindset is when there's only been a handful of years that I've felt like we're in good water shape. I mean, 3 years ago, I felt like we were in good water shape. But like for the majority of my hunting career, I've always,
it's a sacred place.
Water's going to be tight.
Yeah, exactly.
So I just, you can't go dicking with them when water starts going low.
Right.
It'll be a mess.
And that's the thing that I mean, it just drives me nuts because you know the guys that are doing it know that.
They're all about today.
Exactly.
And that's a very common deal. It's right back to the hunting public land and everything else you do about respecting your people.
Yeah.
You gotta respect your game. If you're a hunter and you're in the hunting business, I got news for you. Unless you have, I'm gonna use Tony Vandermore's example. Tony Vandermore's got $1 million great lodge, first class deals and stuff.
Yeah.
His hunting's a big part of his business, 50%, but
Yes.
the other half of it's lodging.
Yeah.
You know, our hunting up here, we have a nice place. We don't have a fancy lodge. We
Right.
serve nice meals and we have great customer service. So the hunting is not all here either because people know they're going to get fed well and do some. But that guy that's guiding out of the back of a truck and his guys are sleeping at whatever local motel it is or finding a VRBO, buddy, them birds are 95% of your business.
Right.
And if you don't take care of them, that's your best partner you got.
Exactly.
And that's the bottom line to this. You know, if you go stay at an Orvis endorsed lodge, 10%'s hunting, 90% is
the experience.
That's right.
You know, and that's the thing that a lot of people need to wrap their head around it. Everybody wants to do it for the Instagram picture.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, we shot a 6-man limit by fucking 8 o'clock this morning. You know, like sometimes you're gonna have hunts like that, but you can't expect that just because it's a guided hunt.
Right.
No, but that a lot of people do expect that. Now, and you sell hunts, people want to shoot birds and hunts. I mean,
Right.
That's what they're doing.
But you
know?
gotta.
I don't have this lodge ain't full in June when there's nothing to hunt for a
Right.
reason. You
Exactly.
know? I could run June specials just for lodging and meals, and I'm not going to have very many corporate groups take up on that. And I don't want to do that to myself, anyways. But I mean, I'd have some guys want to just bring 10.
You
guys
like to
up
go
here.
on too many vacations, don't you?
Yes.
Well, yes, I do.
Yes, he does.
I don't want to be tied down to that.
You started your business during the COVID year.
Yeah.
Talk about that had to be.
Yeah.
Could you quit your one job or you got fired? You got laid off from your one job?
So I had another business that I owned for mobile repairs on semis and equipment and shit like that, and I lost 4 contracts,
right.
4 big contracts, and then it was like, okay, well, nobody's wanting to spend any money, and the trucking industry kind of shut down, so to speak, for a little bit, and so we went ahead and just hung that idea up, and I'd been doing that for a little over a year and a half probably at that time, and then me and my buddy Travis, we decided we'd go ahead and do this, and hell, I had all the time in the world to sit around and plan and do whatever the fuck we needed to do because I wasn't working. And then about 3 months after we, formed the LLC and did all that stuff, and I went back to work, and we just kind of went from there. During the COVID, we had a handful of clients.
Mm-hmm.
Most of them were still like, well, what kind of protocol do you have? Do I have to have a test? And I'm like, no. We're not worried about that here,
right?
But they didn't want to leave and risk it, I guess, so to speak.
I mean, my hat's off to you. You you braved the storm. It couldn't have been an easy year to start a business.
No, it was not.
I can't imagine anybody starting in the waterfowl business now. I just so different than what it was before. This would be a tough game to get into today.
Well, the one benefit is, I mean, El Reno hadn't always had this massive amount of birds, has it? 15 years ago?
I grew up hunting around. I mean, I don't know about 15 years ago, but I mean, even from when I was in like junior high, middle school, junior high, I mean, we always shot birds around Reno. I just don't think that there was a number of people that knew about it.
When we first started hunting Oklahoma, which would have been, 13?
I think we went up there in 12.
Okay, 12. We started hunting up there in that. So 10 years.
Right.
And that 10 years in Oklahoma. Oklahoma has transitioned into drama central with the guides.
Oh, my goodness.
It's absolutely ridiculous. They have bypassed Lubbock, Texas, maybe.
And so it's all around us. We don't have to deal with that shit, right? I mean, we had one incident, but we kind of knew those guys outside of there, and we didn't have any issues, right?
But wasn't any when we went up there. There was very few outfitters.
Yeah.
When we started hunting around Hobart, there wasn't nobody else really around Hobart.
Oh my God.
And now there's 6, 7, 8 different guys hunting out there, and I know why those guys have a lot of bad hunts, because there's not the birds there for the number of people that are trying to hunt there. And then there's a stash down at Frederick that hunts, that area.
Yep.
Then you got Hobart's got a deal. Then you go to Fort Cobb and there's a bunch of people.
Oh my
then
God.
you get up around El Reno, there's a bunch of people. Then you get around Perry and there's a big group of people.
Yeah.
And then you get up around the Salt Plains. And so
that is a shit show and a half up there.
But all of those places are just, and it's a willy-nilly deal.
Yeah.
And it's absolutely, I feel sorry for the game wardens that work up there. They do. Them people get called out all the time because those guys
and they
can't
go
work.
back and forth on the internet, shit talking each other.
They can't work together.
Yeah, that's what blows my mind. It would make everybody's life so much easier if you could just communicate and work with somebody.
Yes, it does. It makes.
I would get on
difference.
Facebook every night just to see what happened in Oklahoma.
Oh my God, dude!
Like 2015, 16. I was
Yeah.
like, I gotta get on. I gotta see what happened.
And
last
it's the
night.
guys in the north talking shit, or the guys in the south part of the state talking shit on the guys in the north part of the state, and they're not even. And we do have like guide services from northern Oklahoma that come down, and we'll run into them scouting or something.
Mm-hmm.
This year, you think it was bad before? This year, those birds, with the food situation that is, are going to go to some areas, and they're going to get pressured out there, and they're going to go down there, and people are going to move with those birds, and it is going to be and there's not a lot of hotels down there.
No.
So it's
El
gonna
Reno has like 7 now.
But I'm talking about when you get south of El Reno.
Yeah,
that little area, Mount Altus and stuff, is going to be a hotbed for a lot of fighting going on this year.
There's already fighting going on down there, and it's going to be a rough year for a lot of people because of the lack of water.
Yep, and that can change in a day. We always forget about that. We had a year here one time. We were really dry, and at Thanksgiving, we had about 8 inches of rain Thanksgiving night and thunderstorms.
Really?
And all of a sudden, the first 2 weeks were a struggle. After that, it was as good as it's ever been because everything filled up overnight. And it's going to some place you just got to be there.
That year.
I do.
I bet there were some bitchy guides having. If we got that much rain at Thanksgiving, I would not be fun to deal
There was
with.
nobody bitching because we had all our water back. Everybody was happy.
But how dry were we?
We were down to pumping water.
Oh.
The units had water on it.
A little bit worse than we are now.
And I had the water hole had water on it.
How long did they have to like shuttle shit in?
Oh, it dries out pretty fast because of the sand. I'm talking about but we had sheet water we dealt with all year long, and that wasn't the only rain. We had rain like that all season once it started raining. But we
had that one year where sheet water was everywhere.
Yes. We went from
So I guess it wasn't that bad.
We went though, I'm telling you, Thanksgiving night we went to Hebert's for Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
And it started storming at her house, and we drove home.
Like storming or
thunderstorms, severe thunderstorms, hail, rain.
Right.
It rained. Mom griped because her pumpkins were getting the hell beat at them, but it was last night. I mean, we were done with them. It was Thanksgiving. But it rained that night, and we had 8 inches of rain that night. It stormed all night long. I went scouting that day, and we were already hunting all the way west to 6. The birds were scattered everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
So all of a sudden,
I went right back to
Winchester was loaded.
Right.
Everything was on Winchester, but it was overnight. So it can happen, and it will happen somewhere, and I hope it's us that has it. So that's just me being selfish.
Yeah.
You hope it's you. I hope it's me.
Exactly.
JoJo that's listening to this in Nebraska hopes it's him. Everybody does. All right. Well, we have.
Where can people get a hold of you?
Yes.
If they want to go to El Reno to hunt with you, how can they reach you?
So we have a Facebook page and an Instagram page. It's Southern Migration Outdoors. My number is on the Facebook page, and then I don't think the number's on the Instagram. I'll have to go back and look.
Right.
But you can get our number on Facebook to call
listen,
us.
it's been a lot of fun talking to you. It's the passion that you have. I think this is gonna be something that you do for a long time. So that's good to see from a lot of young people, and it sounds like you're doing it the right way. So
yeah.
Good luck to you this hunting season, and shoot them up. If there's anything we ever do for you in the future, just let us know. All right.
Thank you, guys.
Been a pleasure. All right. Goodbye, everybody.
Peace out. God bless. Have a great week. Be safe.
That was it. All right, ladies and gentlemen, you need to go set up a hunt-proof app. Keep track of all of your hunts easily. Go set it up, huntproof.com or huntproof app in the App Store. Looking Glass Podcast, Alpha Outdoor Specialties, Bangtail Whiskey, Stanfield Hunting Outfitters, Dirty Duck Coffee, Ducks Unlimited, Double T British Kennels. We've actually got dogs here now. Lucky Duck, Shin Gear Waders, Gun Dog Outdoors, Pacific Calls, Dive Bomb Industries, and Boss Shot Shells.